Monday, the day after the live stream. First off, I want to thank all you guys for sticking in there. I watched the live stream this morning, or last night, actually, about, I was kind of late, but, and it was really choppy. It was cutting in and out. The sound was horrible, but I just want to thank everybody for, sticking in there and taking part. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves, and, if we get a good response on it, people want to do it or start asking about doing another one, I think we'll do it again, and hopefully we'll have better service and a better connection. But I think I'll do it the same way. We'll announce we're going to do it ahead of time, maybe some more advance notice this time. But anyways, for anybody who didn't watch it, I got to tell you where we're headed. Today's Monday. We're heading out to pick something up. I know it's going to be hard to believe, but I bought another truck. Probably harder to believe is going to be the fact that what I tell you the truck is. It's a Ford. Now, that's not going to be shocking to you, but what might be is it's an F-150. I typically don't buy half-ton trucks. I usually don't have a use for them. Their tow capacity is just too light for me. They're just usually not something I want. But anyways, I saw the truck. It has a 543 valve in it, and it needs some motor work. So I was able to get it what I thought was a reasonable price, and the truck's in pretty good shape. It's got a decent body on it. It's got some decent wheels and tires. The interior is okay. It needs clean, but we got somebody on the payroll who can do that.
I get paid?
Yes, you get a place to live. So my wife will clean it up. She always cleans these trucks up. I mean, like she said, I should probably do it before and after so you guys can see like what she can take, how dirty it is, and how clean you can get it, and maybe some of her techniques on what she uses, because a lot of times you'll get a truck and it is a lot worse than you might think it is in dirt, being dirty, and she can get them extremely clean and nice looking. So we ought to do that. But anyways, where we're going is it's not quite an hour and a half drive, but it's over an hour from home, and we're going down here and pick this truck up. It runs and it drives, but I don't want to drive it that far with an engine problem for fear of making it worse. I don't want to destroy something that could be saved just by, taking the extra effort, taking the Freightliner and putting it on the deck and bringing it home. Anybody that's new to my channel, you probably don't know, but this Freightliner that I have, you can show them the picture of this bed. I built this thing, I don't know, it's been years and years ago now, but we use this thing an awful lot. We use it like a rollback, we use it like a flatbed. We've hauled a ton of stuff on here. I mean, just ridiculous how much we use it. Now, we don't use it a whole lot of distance, or a whole lot of miles at once. I think we figured out I put like 10 or 11,000 miles on it in like 5 or 6 years, maybe. I don't even remember how long we had it. But it was a box truck. We built that bed. Now, that 2007 F750 that I got, I'd really like to build this bed again, and I'm leaning towards putting the rollback bed on, just so it can be quicker, not as long as building another bed. But man, I hate to put that rollback on there because it's going to make it so short. It's only going to be 21 foot. So the exact reason that I'm building that F750 for more capacity, weight capacity, I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot by using a 21 foot rollback. And honestly, that wheel lift on a rollback is, I wouldn't say completely worthless to me, but I don't buy cars, and pickup trucks I buy are four-wheel drive. I pull the drive shaft, and I'm not pulling two at a time. I'm usually just getting one truck on the bed of the Freightliner at a time. So that, I don't know, it's a catch-22, and I really haven't put my thumb down on exactly what I'm going to do. I really would just like to build another bed, because I have some ideas that would change it to make it better, and it would be a better suited truck. But I guess that's something I'll figure out, and when I do, when we start the project, we'll bring you guys along. I don't want to waste and I hate to call it wasting, but I don't want to waste that truck and chassis and driveline being what it is on something I'm not going to use, and then it's going to sit around and I'll be like, you know what, I should just free up the cash that's in it and sell that thing and, you know, go buy something else or build something else. So I don't know, that's where I'm at with it. But we're probably, what, another half hour away. Yeah, we're about a half hour. We've been driving for a little while, so we're about a half hour away. We're going to stop and get a little more diesel fuel and get this thing loaded up. We'll bring you back once we got it on, or see how it goes. If we can get a video of loading it, we will. If we can't, well, then we'll just catch you back at the shop when we unload it. So we'll bring you back. Okay guys, so here it is. It is an 04 F150. It's a crew cab, short bed, 4-wheel drive, 5.4 gas. It's got 17-inch tires. Those are 305/70, 17 aftermarket wheels, and you know, some pretty aggressive tires, but the body's in really nice shape. It's got some scratches. You can see my reflection in the paint still, but there's some scratches here and there. A couple up here. These won't come out. Those are too deep, but not bad. The body's in really nice shape. I couldn't find any rust on the bottoms of doors, or just a very tiny amount starting on the rockers right there, but got a nice tuxedo tonneau cover, and body's in pretty nice shape, really, especially for around here. A couple more scratches here, a little bit of bird crap here and there. Guess we can get that off. Keyless entry, push button. And it's got the factory chrome there. Those are Ford Nerf bars, so that's kind of cool. And power windows, locks, remote mirrors, child lockouts. Nice cluster. Dash is in good shape. There's no radio in it, but we'll put something in that hole. Air conditioning works. 4-wheel drive works. There's a little bit of sticky here. There was something stuck to the dash there, but man, all in all, pretty decent. Back seat, all of the interior is in good shape. A little bit of dirt here and there, but she'll get it all cleaned up, just like this. This is kind of like ink pen here. She'll get it all out. And looky there, here she comes with the scrubbing goodies. Gonna get to town, go to town on it. But yeah, not bad. This has that Ford seats that they stain up pretty easy. We've got a upholstery cleaner that she'll clean this with, and when she's done I'll have to show you again because you won't believe they're the same seats. I like how the back is, that the spacing here. I mean, even for an F-150 as a crew cab, it's pretty spacious. This would be nice for taking the dog somewhere they can lay on the floor. That's plenty of room. Yeah, so anyways, it's got a running problem. Of course it does. It's a 5.4. Alright, so it smokes, and it has a check engine light and an engine mist. So first thing we'll do is dig into it. We're going to move some stuff so we can get it inside, because that sun is brutal today. It says the high is only supposed to be, what do you say, 87?
87, but it's 86 right now.
Yeah, it's 86, and we're not even close to the heat of the day yet. So I think we're going to try and get this thing inside. At least get it in the shade a little bit. So let me get moving, see if I can get it going here. Okay guys, so it's got an engine mist, so I went to the functional test, the snap-on scanner, and as you can tell, cylinder number 1 is a negative 0.5 is the highest I've seen in contribution. Now I have to scroll down because it only shows 5, and I have to get the rest of them. There's 6, 7, 8. All the rest of them have good contribution except for cylinder number 1. Now, if it said cylinder number 2, 3, 4, 5, you'd have to go in the firing order, because that's what they're looking at, is which one fires next, okay? But this says number 1, so we have cylinder number 1 has a negative contribution, so that's where we're going to start first. We'll back out of this. Let's go to the codes menu. Go to the key on, engine running. There we go. It had a couple lean codes in memory, and when it first starts, you can hear this this wailing noise, and it sounds very much like a very, very large vacuum leak. And if I'm not mistaken, I got to turn this stuff on and off. Turn the steering wheel for its key on, engine running test. Anyways, what was I telling you? Oh yeah, it had a lean code, and if I remember right, there was something about the back of the intakes on these older 5.4s, the first generation 3 valves, where a vacuum leak on the back of the head, where a rubber line deteriorates or something, but I can't remember if that was the 5.4 or something else I'm thinking about. But regardless, the intake will probably have to come off anyways, and we'll look for that then. But that could be our lean code. Now, if we ran it lean long enough, I mean, we could have burned a valve, or you know, could have came apart, could have damaged a piston. We don't know. So at this point, we're going to let it run its self-test, get all the engine codes, and sounds like it's about done now. It's bringing the idle back down. Yeah, it should be just about done now. We'll see what the results are. But anyways, check incomplete, brake switch out of range. Yeah, well, that would be because I didn't hit the brake switch. So so here's what we're going to do. Go down here, clear codes. Let's clear codes. Codes are cleared, and we're going to shut it down. And then when it shut off, you could just hear that wailing noise again, where it was sucking air. So there's got to be a pretty good sized vacuum leak. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. But first thing I'm going to do is take off cylinder number 1. It may be as simple as a coil is why it's got an engine miss, and the vacuum leak something else. But the burning the oil is something, you know, something I'm going to have to worry about, you know, pretty concerning. So let me get that number 1 coil out. Let me check for injector pulse. Let me check for the spark, and we'll go from there. So you saw me do the contribution test on my snap-on scanner, and it showed that number 1 was a negative contribution, negative negative 5.1 is what it was. And so what I did is I come over on this side, which on this engine, I believe this is the farthest cylinder forward. So this should be number 1, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7 on the other side. Anyway, so I checked for injector pulse, I checked for spark. We had both. I pulled the plug out and grabbed that spark plug. Lo and behold, there's what we got. So we got some interference in the engine. Now, that looks like it's got something small rattling around in there. Now the other thing is, you remember I said it had a huge vacuum leak? You could hear the vacuum leak. When I went to take, when it was running, I went to take the valve or the oil fill cap off to look down in the valve cover to see if the time chain was slapping around, if I could see anything down in there. When I went to go pull it off, the cap, I was having trouble getting the cap off, and as soon as I got the cap off, it installed. All the vacuum is going into the engine. So it sounds like to me possibly we got a number 1 intake valve broke, stuck, something where it's letting all the intake vacuum in that cylinder and is pulling the oil up through. So it may have a broken piston, but I think we're pulling vacuum through number 1 cylinder into the intake, sucking it in the intake and burning it, or something like that. So what I'm doing now is I've got the ECM out of the way, I got the batteries out of the way here, and I'm getting ready. I just disconnect the heater hose. This is what I do so I don't have to drain the system. I take this hose off and I use these pinch pliers on the other side, That way all the coolant stays in the engine. And before I take this valve cover off, I blow out with a blowgun real good. Blow everything out of in here so I don't get any crud down the motor. Everything is ready to go. I just got to get the bolts for the actual valve cover taken off, and hopefully this one will come out a little easier, but I'm very doubtful. It's pretty tight back in this area, which I know is hard for you guys to see, but the sun's in the way, but it's pretty tight back here. So let me see what I can do. Okay guys, so I got the valve cover off, and lo and behold, look what we got. There's the valve spring. The retainer's missing. See if I can get you down in here to see this. You can see there's a cam follower. There's another one. Let's see if I got my magnet here. Use my magnet to pull them out of there so you can see where it's at. That's sitting on top of the head bolt. That's number one. And the other one is right there. Doesn't show up real well on the camera, but oh, that wasn't good. They want a piece of it down in the engine. Now, what's the likeliness? Okay, so there's part of the one, the outside of the roller, which is all boogered up. I mean, at this point, the oil pan needs to come off. I'm trying to get my magnet worked down in there and see if I can get to whatever fell. Yeah, apparently not. So I believe that would be the valve spring retainer is gone, because that's the only valve spring that's missing. Okay. Oh, I found it. There it is, right there. There's the top of the valve spring. So now we're missing the keepers, which could have been what fell, or it could have been just more metal. But as you can see, or maybe not. Alright, so my theory was correct. AC just blew off. I evacuated it, but I put plugs on it to keep moisture out, but it must have built too much pressure. Okay, so intake valve right here. So there's why we're sucking oil, why we're burning oil. It's sucking oil from in here straight into that cylinder, and the intake also. So at this point, they have no choice but the head halves come off. So we were right. You know, we kind of figured that valve broke or hit the piston and broke the piston, which that's what we got there. The valve is it's completely gone. So I can only imagine it's embedded itself into the top of the piston. So the next step will be get the intake off, drain the antifreeze, get the intake off, and then get down to taking the heads off, which means the whole front end's got to come off. And quite honestly, I don't know if we're going to fix this, because it's got a hole in the piston. I can only imagine. I'll drain the oil, and more than likely I'll find the keepers. Yeah, there's just one valve missing. And I'll show you what the failure was, which is pretty common. You know, I just kind of threw them up here. Oh, there we go. Alright, so this is a common failure on these things. You see how that's split? Just destroys an engine in no time, right? So more than likely that one split, kicked out, and speculation here, and got a hold of this one and kicked it out of its place. Of course, the bearing feels like it's gone on this one, so it's possible that this one, the bearing let loose and moved, but man, that thing is just scalded, ground down. So regardless, the head's got to come off, at least one. I wish I knew what fell, but all the pieces are there to the rollers, to the cam followers, The only thing that we don't have is the keepers. And you see one of the keepers now. I can see it. It's amazing how you get a little bit different light on something. Yep, there it is. There's one of my valve spring retainers. So that's cool. Now we're just missing the other one, which I'll have to look deeper. Maybe I got some standing oil here. It could be down in there, but it doesn't change the fact that, you know, the engine needs to come apart, the heads need to come off. Kind of anxious to see what it did, but I think I already know. I think that I think what we're going to find is a valve embedded in the head at the top of the piston. But anyways, we got there pretty quick, I guess. So I don't know where I'm going to go from here, except for right now it's a little warm, so we're going to go get a drink. So we're going to take a break here. Okay guys, so we're back, and I went home to get a drink, and then I got a phone call from Doug at Lakeside Ranch, and we chatted for an hour and a half, I think he said, and very, very enjoyable conversation. Great guy. If you guys don't know who Doug is at Lakeside Ranch, check out his YouTube page. He does a lot of stuff with those classic antique Evinrudes and all kinds of outboard motors. I think he said 20 horsepower, smaller than 20 horsepower is what he does, but he also does some renovations on his landlord. He's a landlord, and most of his videos on that will say landlord this or landlord that, where he's doing repairs, but he's got quite a few rental properties. So if you're interested in that, check him out. Really great guy. He watches a lot of our videos and comments a lot, and we like him. He's pretty fantastic. But so I was a little late to the party here, getting back to work. It's a little late in the day now, but so you saw what we found with the cam followers. And the cam, it's damaged, so at the very least we're gonna have to take this head off. Now what I wanted to show you was the noise we're hearing is not cam phasers. Someone has just replaced that variable valve timing solenoid right there and that cam phaser, and that is a new timing chain. So we may have dodged a bullet there. At the very least we might have some good parts for the other ones. You can see down in here the tensioners are not broke. The guide right there is in good shape. I'm trying to read a number on it, see what brand it is, but I can't read that far down the ends, can't see. But anyways, so this engine, the valve, the one intake valve for number one, like I was saying, that's where a vacuum leak was, is it's open, so it's sucking all the oil from the around the head down where that valve guide is, because there's no valve in there anymore. So I can only imagine that valve is either crammed up and crunched into a pretzel, or it's gone through the top of the piston. So the next step will be to take the intake off, take the other valve cover off, and get the heads off and see what we got down below. Of course, I have to take the front of the cover of the engine apart, so I'm going to have to go ahead and drain the coolant here, but that's alright. That'll be the next step. Now, my plan for this would be, more than likely, my F250, I did the conversion on the slideshow I keep talking about every now and again. It has a 5.4 in it, okay? I was going to leave that 5.4 in that truck until it had a problem, and then I was going to change it out to a Cummins or a V10 or something else. Well, I have that V10 in the shop, sitting on the engine stand, ready to go. So what I'm thinking right now is that maybe instead of repairing this engine, we'll pull it out, we'll take the motor out of that F250 with the 5.4, put it in here, and then put the V10 in that F250, making it a much better towing pickup truck. Tentatively, that's what I'm thinking, but I'm not going to make a decision until I get this apart, because I might get this apart and just see that it's just one broken piston, and I'll pull the rods and mains, get a look at them, see what they look like, pull the oil filter, cut it open, drain the oil, all that stuff, see what kind of condition we really have, because at the least right now we know we need at least one valve, a camshaft, because that one lobe is destroyed, a couple cam followers. Oh, the other thing I want to mention, I saw this and I wanted to point this out. That noise I heard, geez, I don't know if I can get to this now, way down in here. Can you see this empty hole? Right there? That is a missing cam follower. It should look like this right here. See that there? See if I can get a light on there for you. See that tip right there, right underneath the cam lobe? That's what's supposed to be down there, and it's gone. So that must be what fell down in the oil pan. So at the very least, that's what we got to do. But I think that's it for now. We're gonna cut it loose. It's about to rain. I got this outside because even though I have a shop, I for some reason kind of end up working outside anyways. I don't know, I prefer it. You get more daylight, you can see better. I don't know, glutton for punishment maybe. Anyhow, that's where we're going to leave you on this one. Like I always say, if you guys like what we're doing, give us these thumbs up. We do appreciate it. And leave your comments down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And, you know, if you get a free minute, check out Doug's channel, Lakeside Ranch. I've got a lot of neat stuff on there. He does some remote control airplanes too. I'm not sure if he builds them. I would assume he does, but check it out. See if it's something you're interested in. Alright guys, we will catch you on the next one. How else do you jack up a truck to work on it? Jack stands. We don't need no stinking jack stands.